computer, and we're gonna jump right into everything. If I can remember how to share screen. Here we go. And here we are. Okay, so today we are talking about interview, and this could possibly be one of the most important sessions we're going to do. So I want to get to the chase and open for questions, and I want to show you guys examples. So if you guys, and you're going to interview me, I'm going to pretend that you guys are the judges. That way I can show you the best way to respond. I'm not perfect. I will be 100% honest. I have crutch words, and I tend to talk a lot. So I'm going to show you how to work through that and recognize that. So Capture the Crown Interview 101. Here we go. First things first. Wardrobe is one of the hardest things for me about interview, because we're in this day and age that women we don't wear suits anymore. Now we do, some people do. However, you know, the pageant system, the pageant world is getting more trendy. Miss America, one of the 4 points of the crown, is indeed style. So we're allowed to be a little bit edgy at the same time, trying to be classy. So the old-fashioned suit or pencil skirt and jacket isn't necessarily what people are wanting. So it's really cool. You can be unique. You can show your style a little bit. So I pulled up 3 examples of ones that I really like. Know your job, you guys, because I know, like, the National American Miss system, which I don't think I have any NAM girls in here, but National American Miss, I know they do still have their girls in traditional like suit skirts. So that, and there are quite fancy versions of that. I didn't put an example because I don't think we have anybody, but if anybody joins later and watches this, definitely know your system. Ask your directors, anybody, what type, but I will tell you, for Miss USA, Miss America, United States, Mrs. America, Mrs. United States, these are great examples of what they're looking for. You'll notice, although the middle one is a little bit busty, we're not showing a lot of cleavage. We're not showing a lot of leg. The one on the right, the green, is from Venus.com, one of my favorite websites, very affordable clothes. They're not the highest quality, but they are definitely, if they're pressed right and fitted correctly, they're great wardrobe clothes. I love this one. Look at the knee length above the knee. It's appropriate if you're standing or sitting. I love that it's not low cut, but it does show a little bit of a cold shoulder, a lot of style, great color for almost every skin tone. That's a great dress. I love that dress. The one in the middle, I also liked. I thought this was very appropriate. She has very subtle jewelry on. I might not do that necklace. However, I love the jacket. I love the pencil skirt. I loved the zebra. I thought it's very memorable and shows this girl's style. You can tell she's edgy but professional. If this were for a pageant interview, maybe we'd fix the top to be a little bit higher. And then the one on the left, I believe, is Miss America. Miss America contestant. I am running on low energy again. A Miss America contestant, and she wore this fabulous pantsuit. And notice the shoes that are showing, they're not, they're very subtle. You don't want to notice them. You want them to complement the outfit without bringing attention. They're elongating the legs because they are nude. I love finding interview shoes that are very, very much so either match the outfit. So beige, taupe, or black. It's very hard. I don't like matchy-matchy. If the girl on the right in that green dress had worn emerald shoes as well, I think that would have been distracting. You want everything to point towards your face. Jewelry, you don't want anything to be distracting. Bracelets, you really want to be careful. If you're moving, if you're a hand talker like me, you don't want a bunch of bangles jingling the entire time. Earrings, again, you don't want them to be too formal, so you don't need giant rhinestones for them. Necklaces should complement. If you're going to wear one, they should definitely complement the outfit. You can be a statement piece. Necklaces, I feel like you can be a little bit more loud about because they're by your face. It's going to bring attention to your face. So wardrobe is important. Find something that you're comfortable in and confident in. And, you know, there's not like that weird itchy tag that you start thinking about it and then it's there. It's not, oh my gosh, is this, you know, am I constantly going to have to fix this? Make sure it fits right. get that double stick tape if you need to. Wardrobe is something that you should feel confident in and you feel like you're ready for the job. And if you think about it, if you're not sure if a piece of wardrobe is appropriate for interview or not, think about if you would actually walk into a job interview. Whatever your job interview or your dream job is, would you walk into that job interview wearing it? If not, maybe it's a little too far on the stylish or sexy side. Definitely think about it. It is a pageant, so you can ride that line for sure, but make sure it's appropriate to you, appropriate for the organization, appropriate for your age, and that you feel wonderful in it. And make sure it's for you, because it makes a statement for sure. Okay, now jumping right into it. Everything about interview is nonverbal communication. And for those of you who are not communication majors like me who love it, nonverbal communication is the way you communicate with people without saying any words. And it is, 100%, I think pageantry is won through nonverbal communication. 100%. And it's something that I preached. I'm really excited. One of my friends just won. I've been working with her. She'd reach out to me, and I had worked with her a couple other times, and we had been doing something similar to this. She's a good friend of mine. She just won her pageant, and I shared a lot of the same things with her. She sent me a crowning picture tonight. I'm very proud of her. So we had talked about this because her interview is something that she really she didn't struggle with, but it wasn't her strong suit, and I'm very proud of her. So these are great things to learn. So nonverbal communication. Everything you do from the time that door opens to the time that door closes is being judged. Granted, the judges are going to have to write down and make notes and score at some point in time, but you need to be ready for that interview before you even walk in the door. And so when you are entering the room, you need to be open and outward. You need to be confident. You need to walk in with confidence, shoulders up, smile on, core engaged, good eye contact, good posture. Everything needs to be on point the moment you walk in the room. Now, as a judge, the first thing I look for is her eyes. So when that door opens and you can see the panel of judges' eyes, you are going to scan every one of their eyes. Of course, look to where you're going, because that would be embarrassing. But to glance at that and make sure you're looking at every one of their eyes. And they're going to do the same. You're going to feel it, but they'll also be taking you in. They'll be drinking you in, as my grandmother says. They will be looking at your entire outfit. Some pageant systems ask them to form an opinion on the outfit. Is it appropriate? Is it appropriate for the job? Should we change it if she were to win when she goes to state or nationals? So it's very important. It's not something, that's not an afterthought. That's why I keep emphasizing wardrobe. I can't wait to work with Ashley when we see her, I think, on Wednesday. Oh, look. Okay, so entering and exit the room with confidence. Very important that you are smiling between questions and answers. I didn't realize how bad I was at this until I was in a mock interview and someone pointed it out to me. So someone is asking a question, and I would listen like this. Then I'd go to answer, and I'd turn the smile on and answer, and then I'd listen to the next question, and I got this look on my face. I mean, I was really trying to engage and listen to what they were asking me, but I didn't realize the look on my face was so distracting, and I kept going like this. So think about it, because you may or may not be doing the same thing. It happened to me. So making sure you're smiling and between answers and questions. Eye contact is probably, again, nonverbal communication. I swear pageants are won on eye contact, especially if it's down to a couple girls and one girl can really make that connection through the eyes. I'm telling you, it is one of the biggest things. When you are in interview, and it's my rule and it's worked really well. I have worked with a couple interview coaches and they all agreed with me. I always start my eye contact and end my eye contact with the judge who's asking. So if you are here, I'm looking into my camera, and you ask the question, I'm going to start answering to you, but I'm also going to talk to the judges as well and make sure I make eye contact with each and every one of them. And then I'm going to come back to you and I'm closing the question. I'm closing my answer. It does take practice, and it's something that you'll notice that you do or don't do, whatever your next pageant is. So it's very important, because if you are a judge and there's judges on either side of you, and I am talking to you and just talking to you because you asked me a question. And then I go on to the next judge and I'm talking to them and they ask me a question. I look at them. How awkward is it? It's like, wait, you know, I'm over here too. Now, is my opinion on this matter, you know, not matter? So make sure you're sharing the love. Share the love, make eye contact, finish, and start with the person who asked the question. Also, match the type of question. This is so important because we're pageant girls and we're cheery and we're outgoing and blah, 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 blah. However, if they ask you a very serious question, you're going to want to match the level of seriousness, if you will. So here we are smiling. I just got done talking about my weekend with my dog. And then the next judge says, Mekayla, there is a serious crisis happening in Syria right now. How do we fix that? I don't go, well, I have the exact answer. People are dying. We're bombing them. And this is how you fix it. That's morbid. That is not appropriate whatsoever. So although I'm not going to get this look on my face, I'm going to still, what Tyra Banks says, smize. I'm going to smile with my eyes, but I'm also going to calm my spirits. I'm not going to seem as tentative and excited about the question. I'm going to calm my spirits, have an understanding look on my face. Instead of having a full-blown smile, I might come down to a smile with my eyes. I'm ready to listen. I'm not serious or starting to cry, but it's going to take some practice. I practice in the mirror for sure, but make it look like you are concerned and you are really, this is an important question to you, but you are not sad or mad about it, but you're not overexcited. So match the type of question. Everything down from your body language and the level of your voice and the speed of your voice is very important as well. Your stance is very, 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 very important because it is something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Now, it's if you sit or stand. I'm going to exit really quick. Let's see. Okay, so sorry you get to see everything on my desktop. Okay, I want to make sure you guys can see me as I drop everything. So I am sitting. Here's my little chair. You kind of see it because it's a ghost chair. So here I am. I am sitting, and I'm headless. I'm sitting. So if I am in an interview where I need to sit, I am not going to sit like this. I guess I can tilt you down a little bit and move back. So I am not going to sit like this. I've had an interview where a girl sat like this the entire time. Sluggish. Even if she were upright, this is still inappropriate, even if you're in a pantsuit. I really like putting your hands, I like locking my feet like this, coming to the edge of your seat. So you're not sitting back in it, you're sitting forward, ankles crossed, and hands on your lap. Don't intertwine them, no intertwining. You're gonna just lightly grasp, and they're gonna be on your lap, folded somehow, but you're not sitting. There's going to be some space here, okay? This shows that you are tentative and you are eager to learn more, but you're also, you're not slouching, you're up, and you're ready for questions. I'm open and outward. I'm not closed and shut off. I'm open. I'm ready to take questions from everybody. Ready to take questions. So you can have to one side if you want. For instance, my dress has a little slit in it. It's very appropriate. So I probably will sit on this side so it's not just thigh. It's not a lot of thigh, but I will sit on this side and make sure that slit is away. Because if it was here, that's all, I think it would be distracting. So I'm going to probably sit like this for my interview because I have to sit in my interview. Standing. Okay. This is really awkward. I pull my pants. So standing is really important because you can stand and be slouched as well, but you're going to want to be, again, you're in line, your posture is high, and you're open and outward, you're ready for questions. Feet. Yep. Okay. Feet are important. So I'm not like this. This is kind of awkward. It's, even if you're really shaped or a great curvy girl, it's very, it's not flattering. So you're going to turn a little bit here, and this is what we call pretty feet. Second position, third position for ballerinas. So again, either way, having one knee popped, this is what it looks on the side. So not together, not a pout. We're not Superwoman here. So one popped. Now you can change and you can rock back and forth depending on, what the question is. Okay? But you're not this, you're not this, and you're not like just chilling. Does that make sense? Okay. Let me move you back here. And Facebook is going nuts. Let's shut you down. Okay. Back to our slides here. Wait, I'm gonna make sure you can see me. There we go. Okay, so your stance is very important. And it's something we call open and outward is because you want to give off this aura of being open, ready for questions. You are, putting yourself out there versus inward and closed. So that's how important nonverbal communication is. This is how important it is. Oh, maybe. I have these mixed up. This will work. Your attitude is very, very much part of your nonverbal communications. And for instance, if you're going to be scared, if you're in an interview and you're scared out of your wits and you're having a breakdown before you walk in, you're probably going to seem like that. Your attitude is going to be either sour or shy or frantic. So you want to make sure your attitude is ready to go. You are ready for the job. You are confident. You are ready to go in, and you are ready for the judges to get to know you. So again, you want to be open and outward, not inward and closed. You want to be open and outward when sitting or standing. We just showed you that. I want to make sure that you are confident enough to look at every judge in the eye. You also, where you're standing is very important, which is really strange to think about. If there is a podium, if you are short, and I'm saying, if it comes to your chest, for the love of God, please do not stand behind it, because all they're going to see is this the entire time. You want to go ahead and simply stand to the side of it. It doesn't matter which side. And if there's enough room, a comfortable enough room between the judges table and that podium, feel free to stand in front of it. I, with heels, am about 6 foot, I'd say 5'11" to 6 foot tall. I almost always stand next to or in front of, because you know what? I'm a hand talker and I have rings, and every time I set my hands down, it makes that noise, and I don't like that thunk noise on it, and I know that is a problem of mine, so I just avoid the situation by standing next to the podium or in front of. Some people have a chair. You can stand in front or beside the chair. Don't move the podium. Don't shove the podium. That's very awkward. Just simply work around it if that's what you would like. Walking tall. Your attitude when you come in the room sets this tone for everything. That's why it's very important that you are smile, ready to go, and the moment you walk in that room, you are looking for the judge's eyes, even when you pass the door, not looking down and then looking up and looking back down. When you enter an exit, you're looking for eye contact. Exiting the room is okay not to do eye contact, because you don't need to be like walking towards the door and trying to find them. You can simply thank them and turn and leave. Now, if the door is behind them, yes, I'll make eye contact, because that's not awkward. You're already they are in your line of vision. So play it by ear. If it feels uncomfortable, it probably is uncomfortable when it comes to eye contact. So, as far as body position and next, same thing on stage. We'll get to that later. Handshakes. Oh, this is so important. I would ask at registration or orientation about handshakes. And if you don't want to ask it out loud, whomever is in charge, go ask one of them. Say, are the judges expecting us to have a handshake or not? There are a lot of reasons why we don't handshake. Germs is one of them. If you're nervous and get clammy like me, it's really awkward to touch people's clammy hands. If I were at a table and a girl went to shake my hand, of course I would shake their hand. I wouldn't just simply stare at them. I would shake their hand. I probably would be uncomfortable because of flu season and germs, and it's not the right setting. If you have a one-on-one interview, you may or may not want to shake their hand. It's more personable. Hi, my name's Mekayla. Nice to meet you. It's up to you, but I would definitely ask your director That's something I'm going to ask because I've never participated in this pageant system for the Mrs. America. I have no idea what the interview is going to be like. Miss America, it's panel style. I can promise you, you will have 3 to 5 judges. You will stand in a room, either in front of a table with a podium or nothing at all, and you just stand there. And usually 99% of the time, you do not shake their hand. Miss USA, especially Miss Indiana USA and Miss Pennsylvania USA, because I've judged that one. No, Connecticut as well. You go into the interview room with another girl. Half the judges are on one side, half on the other, and you come to the middle, and whenever they say time, you walk to your set of judges, you talk to them for 3 minutes, you turn and leave. So don't take up the time to shake hands. In my opinion, if you are given the option, don't take up the time. It's okay. They're not judging you. You're ready to go. It means first question, bring it on. Okay. Facial expressions. I worked with Don Baker, who just passed a few months ago. Very tragic. One of the best interview coaches I've ever met, and he hated pageants, which is bizarre because he was one of the best ones. He did not like pageantry, and he was so good. I got the chance to work with him on multiple occasions, especially getting ready for Miss USA. And his facial expressions, he coached on facial expressions, which cracked me up. The job we're applying for is a happy job. We have crowns, we have little girls excited, we have pictures. So very rarely should you have a sour or concerned look on your face. But again, match the tone of the question, but definitely change your face, please. Because if you're Barbie like this the entire time, it's like, what? What's wrong with her? Like, hello. So make sure you are changing your facial expressions. Again, if it's a concerning question, go ahead and act concerned. If it's not, it's okay to be goofy, and it's okay. I have a lot of facial muscles. I'm going to have a lot of wrinkles because of them, but I'm a very animated person. I always talk with a lot of everything. It's just how I was born. So my facial expressions, I never have to worry about them. Sometimes I have to bring them down. So just practice in the mirror. Attitude, as far as content, you need to drive every answer with emotion, not intellect. This sentence is just gold because it is true. The judges honestly do not care how much you know. They do not care. They don't care how knowledgeable you are about African cats or the beetle. They don't care. They might be impressed, but they really don't care. They want to see how emotionally driven you are, how much passion and love and care you have for this job. So make sure you're not emphasizing how much you know, but definitely how much you feel about the topic. It is very much, interview is one when the judges, you make them feel something. And what is that saying? Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. It's not about what you say, it's about how you made them feel. And this is so true, very true, especially in an interview. So drive with emotion, especially if it's something you really, really want. And I already said eye contact with every judge. It shows confidence. Visualization is very, very important. I feel like I skipped a slide. Nope, I didn't. Okay. Visualization is important. I know I've kind of brought it up here and there a couple of times, but visualizing is something I learned how to do in volleyball in college. And we used to do, it's really strange, here I am with a team of women going to a volleyball game, and we would be on the bus and we'd close our eyes and we would all visualize the game. Our favorite play, we'd just close our eyes, put our headphones in, we'd visualize walking into the stadium wherever we were playing, some big, some small. We'd visualize what we had wearing, we'd visualize the court where the referees were going to be, how the team, where we're going to be set up. We visualized what it felt like, what that perfect pass felt like. It has a certain sound after it hits your arms, the way it leaves your hands when you set. You visualize that perfect set or that perfect serve, however you serve. I mean, you visualized what it felt like and what it was going to feel like. Because when you step into that interview room, it's not that way. Nothing is a surprise to you. I will never forget my very first interview at Miss Elkhart County. Back in the day, we used to record every interview. So I did not know that. And I don't think we do it anymore. Some systems might, but I've not done this yet. When I walked into the room, in my mind, I envisioned judges and me standing in the middle, right? Well, not only that, but there was somebody on this left doing something. I had no idea who that person was. So I kept making eye contact because I didn't know if it was a judge or not. And then here's this very large camera in the corner with that red light beating at me. And it really caught me off guard because I didn't expect that. So if you visualize exactly what the room is going to look like and how you're going to feel walking in and out of the room, there won't be any giant surprises, is what I'm saying. I hear a noise. I don't know what my husband's doing. Sorry. So visualization is huge when it comes to everything. Visualize the stage, visualize how your talent's going to feel, visualize what it feels like to have that, taking the microphone to answer your on-stage question. Visualize all of that. And it will make you feel a lot better. And if you've never been to the venue before, once you see everything, when you have a moment to yourself, do some visualization to yourself in the back. However you want to do it, nobody has to, you don't have to make it obvious. Just take some time to yourself. For the interview room, visualize how you're going to enter. What does it feel like? What does that feel like when you take that first step onto the carpet and you come around the corner, you can see the judge's eyes? What does it feel like as you walk 4 or 5 steps to it? What are you going to say? You can visualize all of this. Set yourself up. Some of the best athletes in the world do this. Some of the best politicians in the world do this. It's a very, very good practice and thing to get into. Visualize what you're going to be wearing. Visualize being crowned. Honestly, it is. And it'll bring tears to my eyes. I almost cried every crowning I've ever been at because I remember how hard I competed in the Miss America system for 6 years before I got a local. 6 years. 6 years. Sometimes I walked away with nothing. Sometimes I got a non-finalist this or an interview that, or wasn't runner-up. But you know what? I learned to visualize what it felt like to get that crown. And the moment it happened, it is the most amazing feeling in the world because that way you know what you're working towards. Visualize what it feels like to squat and feel the dress tighten at your thighs and that pinch of the boning when you bend over and the awkward wobble of the crown as it sits on your head. Visualize the way they put that sash on your body. Visualize them handing you a plaque or flowers and how the lights feel against your face and you can only see the first 2 rows. You guys, this is a great thing to do, and it is it'll get you in the moment. It'll help calm your spirits and it might get you excited. Can you tell I have a passion for this? Because I have visualized everything. I cried the moment I stepped on the Miss USA stage. I was the one that just could not, because I had visualized it my entire life. And when they showed us, and the massive screens behind us and the steps and the stadiums and all these cameras and all these crazy X's and whatnot on the floor, when Wade brought us all out, that is one of my favorite moments at Miss USA was stepping on the stage in rehearsals and finally feeling, I could have got on my hands and knees and kissed it. That's how excited I was because I had visualized it my whole life. And I want that for you so bad. Content. Now this is where I want the, how impactful nonverbal communication is because it is 93% of your interview. 93%! 35% is pitch. Oh, I have some amazing girls that I've worked with down the road and, at Ash Renee's on my own. I have worked with some of the smartest, most outgoing people in the world, and they get an interview and then their pitch never changes. They may have 2 or 3 vocals and they always say the same and they always have this look in their face. It's like, what happened? Who is that? You guys, vocalize. If you're excited about something, your pitch usually goes up. If you are talking about something a little bit more serious, you tend to bring it down a little bit. Let's get serious. Everything from talking fast to talking slow. I get nervous, I talk fast. So I make sure that I pronunciate every single word. And it's something that I've worked on. I've noticed it. So I notice if I get really nervous and I start talking really fast or I think I'm going to run out of time, take a deep breath. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure you are emphasizing every verb, every detail, every single little vowel you can. That way you know you're talking fast enough or slow enough. You might have a judge that is hard of hearing. So you want to make sure your pitch is out, you're not screaming at them, but you're not under your breath. You want to make sure that they are able to hear you. Eyes. 55% of your interview is judged on your eyes. And I'm not just talking, eye contact. I'm talking how you react to things, because you can tell a lot about a person when you look in their eyes. They always say it's the gateway to the soul. And I think it's true. Eye contact is something that I'm very proud of. And I can tell when people are uncomfortable when I talk to them and I try to make eye contact and they look away. I've been in situations where I am very uncomfortable and don't want to make eye contact with people. And that is very important in the interview room. That means if you're looking at them, I don't like the whole, if you can't make eye contact, look past them. No, that doesn't work. Maybe if you're on stage, it might work, but truthfully, it doesn't work. It is a lie. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that. Look into their eyes. And if you make sure you're changing judges' eyes because you don't want to stare someone down the entire time, and then they kind of they're like, is this okay? You want to make them feel comfortable. Again, it's about how you make them feel. 7% is words. 7%. Literally, if you're worried about how you sounded, or my gosh, I didn't make any sense, the funny thing is they only remember 7% of what you say. So it's okay. It's 100% about the other. Pitch and eyes. It's nonverbal. All nonverbal. Introducing yourself. It depends. Introducing yourself in an interview room. I hope I'm recording. I'm going to be sad if I'm not. I think I am. Introducing yourself when it comes to interview, there's a multitude of things that happen. How I decide if I'm going to introduce myself. Some pageants I've gone to, some interviews I've gone to, the person opens the door, says contestant number 6, Mekayla Eppers. Well, then I don't need to go, hi, I'm Mekayla Eppers. No, somebody already introduced me. Just say good morning or good afternoon. Thanks for being here. You don't have to say it again. You may do it. It's okay. It's nerves. It's not the end of the world if you introduce yourself, even though somebody already introduced you. Yeah, another time is if the person does not introduce me and I walk in, for instance, if they just say contestant number 6. If I'm standing there for a heartbeat or two and nobody says anything, I say, good morning, my name's Mekayla. Because it's like the awkward cricket silence in the background. Yes, you're okay to introduce yourself. If it's a good way to initiate the interview. You guys, you take charge of the interview. The moment I realized that I am the person in charge in the interview, blew my mind. In movies, or even if you've seen with the election, if you think about the person at the podium and all these hundreds of microphones are up there, right? And everybody's in the background like, oh. And he goes, you. And then she answers, that's for you. You guys, you are the interviewee. That is you. You are allowed to do that. If someone asks you multiple questions, I'm sorry, if two judges ask you a question at the same time, it's up to you to say, go ahead. Please, go ahead. And then you can go back to them. Like, okay, and what were you going to ask me? You run that room. The power is in your hands. So own it. Definitely own it. So if they're not asking you anything, you can say good morning or say, how are you guys today? Start that conversation. It's okay. Sometimes they just need some help because they've just interviewed 300 other people or even if it's 20 other people. It's okay. Introduce yourself if you feel the need, but I don't recommend it unless they tell you to. Know the job. As far as content, we talked about this a few days ago. Know the job. I hate it when this happens because judges get on these tangents and they go on and on. This poor girl, her platform was about GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and how, bringing awareness to them and what they do to their body. They started drilling her on, it was a teen, drilling her, asking questions about the farming and the equipment and what it does and why. I just was like, can we bring it back to the girl? That had nothing to do with the job. Yes, it's important, but it is your job to always make sure you bring it back to yourself. Sometimes there's judges like me that rescue the whole situation, but make sure you know the job and be able to bring it back to you and why you're right for the job. Diplomacy, very, very big. You may be asked a question that you are passionately against. I will never forget being in a mock interview one time, and thank goodness it was a mock interview. It was a while ago. I was still competing. And they asked the girl, it wasn't me, they asked the girl, what is your stance on gay marriage? And she says, I absolutely think, I mean, I don't remember what she said, but she blatantly had zero respect for anybody who may be for gay marriage. And she was very cold cut, and this is what I feel. I am not saying that you need to change the way you feel or just pretend to feel one way. You have to be diplomatic. You're more than welcome. Abortion is one of them. You're either pro-life or pro-choice, okay? I mean, technically those are the two textbook answers. However, it's okay to understand the other side of it. For instance, an answer about the gay marriage. Mekayla, do you believe gay couples should be able to get married? You can say, I was raised that in the Catholic Church, I was raised that marriage is between a man and a woman. And that is truly what I believe. However, I do believe that it is everyone's human right to love whomever they want and spend the rest of their life with each other. As far as gay marriage in the church, I believe it's between a man and a woman. I expressed my answer. I answered the question. I didn't beat around the bush, but I also understood and showed that I know and I see and I feel the other side of it, but this is how I feel. I am diplomatic. I don't want to offend anybody. And FYI, I would say a large percentage of the men in the pageant industry are either married to one of the pageant people or they're gay. So know your audience, please. Diplomacy is huge, very, very big. And organize your thoughts when it comes to content. You may ask me something that I know inside and out, back of my hand. I could tell you the origin and I'm that passionate about it. But it's going to take up my entire interview if I continue to simply talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about it. So organize your thoughts. You can visualize this. I wonder if this is another slide. If it is, it's okay. When I worked with Don Baker the second time, he helped me really with this tremendously. I wish I could have recorded that entire session. I was scared. Well, Miss USA is infamous for their onstage questions. They have nothing to do, usually they don't have anything to do with pageantry or the girls. They're so hard and they truly just want to spark a reaction out of them and make them sound stupid. I truly feel that way. It's entertainment. It's live TV. So that was the thing I was most nervous about. If I was honored enough to make it to the next, make it that far, onstage question is very important. And sometimes they ask questions about things that I am not very knowledgeable about. So he always helped me with visualizing it. Mekayla, do you prefer an iPhone 7 or an Android? The first thing I did was picture an iPhone or an Android, okay? And I see them in my mind. I automatically form an opinion. I prefer the iPhone. And then I organize in my thoughts why I prefer an iPhone. This is what's going through my mind as he asks that question. And I'm talking 2 heartbeats. And I can answer the question right away. You know what, Don? I really do prefer the Apple iPhone because I have a Macintosh, I have an Apple TV, and I also have an iPad. And when they work all together, it makes my life a lot easier. I could go on about how much in every app I love and why it's so convenient and I love the size but I didn't. I simply stated a few things supporting my answer and I was able to visualize that. So organize your thoughts. You do not want to go on and on and on about a subject because after a while, remember only 7% they remember. Some of you might have already tuned out of me talking already, if that's any indication, okay? I understand that. If you continue to talk and it makes it awkward, it's going to make it awkward for the judges. Know when to cut yourself off, and you can just stop. You don't have to start your answer and end your answer with a question. We'll go on to that next. Simply, you can just stop. I didn't have to say, and that's why I prefer an iPhone. You could say, and it makes my life a lot easier. That's how I ended my question, and it wasn't awkward. It might have felt awkward, but it wasn't awkward. Okay, moving on. We'll go back to questions. How to answer. Okay, I knew I was going to do this. Do you repeat the question? So, especially, this is kind of on stage 2, but the only time you repeat the question is if you are like 911, I need that much extra time to answer. So, Mekayla, would you prefer to be a cat or a dog? I would prefer to be a cat. Out of being a cat or a dog, I would prefer to be a dog. You don't have to answer that way. And I know I'm exaggerating. Simply, you could say, I would prefer to be a dog, honestly. I would, okay. Mekayla, I have a question for you. if you had to wear a sports bra the rest of your life or a regular bra, what would you choose? I'm in my laundry room, FYI. I would, between a sports bra and a regular bra, I would rather wear, so I'm repeating the question before I answer because I need more time to think. But it's very repetitive and it takes up time. Again, some of these interviews are like 3 to 6 minutes long. You don't get 10 and 12-minute interviews all the time. Don't repeat the question if you don't have to. It's on stage the same thing. Again, it's usually there to help you organize your thoughts and give you more time. It's okay not to do that. In the pageant, we sang, pause for the cause and wait for the applause. That means at the same time, if they ask you a question and you already know the answer, don't let them finish the question. First of all, do not interrupt them and pause. Take a heartbeat, take a quick breath before you answer. Okay? Because that way, if it's consistent and they ask you something that you have no idea what to talk about and you need to form an opinion that moment, it's consistent. It's not like, why is she standing there not saying anything? Take a second before you answer every question to organize your thoughts, and it may feel like a lifetime, but really it's only a heartbeat or two, and that's perfect. So pause for the cause. Okay, how to answer questions other than repeating the question. There are certain ways. If they're asking opinion, you can either give you an absolute yes or no, or you can ease into it. So, Mekayla, do you believe in gay marriage? No. Mekayla, do you believe in gay marriage? Absolutely. Yes. Okay, so there's no question about it. It's very important that you do indeed answer the question, but when you're giving it an absolute answer, you're either saying yes or no right off the bat. And here is why, and then you're giving answers why, or you're supporting your answer. Easing into it would be something along those lines. I really believe, I was raised in the Catholic Church where marriage is between a man and a woman. So I am going on, and then I eventually answer it at the end or in the middle, and then reaffirm it at the end. So there's 2 ways to answer things, and sometimes it depends on the question, but those are 2 ways to answer. No matter what question they're asking you, they need to always, and I repeat, always learn something about you. Typical questions. One of my favorite questions in an interview, just because it's an icebreaker. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? And again, I'm not saying if I could have any superpower, you can, it's okay. If it happens, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to take you to the next level. I would say I would probably have the ability to absorb people's workout benefits. I said that wrong, but I went right into it. And I'm not just saying, or just flying. I would really like the power to fly. Okay, well, why? They didn't learn anything about me other than I want to fly, right? I love to travel, and it is something that's passionate to me, and being able to just kick in the air and go to whatever location and see the sights along the way would be probably the biggest gift, and probably we put the most use if it were a superpower for me. So what do they learn there? They learned that I like to fly. They learned that I love to travel, and I appreciate the scenery, right? So it's about one thing, but it's about another. I was in an actual job interview, and the interviewer asked me, if I had to be part of any bicycle, what bicycle part would I be and why? And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I visualizing all of the bicycle parts. And there was a multitude of ways I could answer this. I could have talked about being the powerhouse and being the pedals. I would be the pedal because that is where the force comes to drive the bike to where it needs to be. That's pretty powerful, right? I chose the handlebars because I wanted to be the leader and direct the bike to where it needs to go, right? And what did that interviewer learn something about me just based off of a bicycle part, okay? So make sure they're always learning something about you, even if they're asking about something on your bio or a sibling or a pageant patty question like the one I just asked you. You need to bring it back to you every time. I already said, visualize it, form an opinion. And if they ask you something and you either didn't understand them or you have no idea what they're talking about, you can ask them to, can you please clarify? Or I'm sorry, I don't know what that word means. Or I don't understand the questions. Could you rephrase, please? Or you can simply say, I honestly don't know enough about that topic, I will definitely look into it when I get in my next free moment. Done. Don't apologize. Just say I haven't, other than saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. Next question, say, show them that you have the initiative to learn more and that you're going to look into it, because heaven forsakes, if you have it again in another interview, you don't want to, you want to make sure you're ready for the next time. But it's okay to ask them to repeat the question in interview. It's okay to ask them to repeat the question, to clarify, to rephrase, or just say you simply don't know and you'll look into it. That's completely okay. It shows that you're mature and you are ready for this job. Sometimes those questions and those answers speak more than the actual rest of the interview, quite honestly. Final tips, and then we're going to talk, because I can't see you and I don't know if you're asking any questions. I'm sorry. Find your crutch word. Does anybody have one? Do you know, like mine's and? I say a lot, or because I talk fast and I don't give myself enough time to form my opinion. So figure out what your crutch word is and make sure you recognize when you are giving that crutch word. Only focus on the things you can control. This is my motto in life. It's one of the best things I learned from pageantry, probably the best lesson pageantry has given me, because at the end of the day, if you can't control it, why even give it the time of day? You can't control if another girl's wearing your dress or not. You can't control that the girl is standing next to you is a supermodel and is a size 00 and has double D's and is 6'3". There's nothing you can do about that, right? You can't control if the light happened to fall and crash in your interview and make it really awkward. It's not the end of the day. Do not give any time or effort to something you cannot control, including other people's talents and just including other girls. Focus on you, because you are the only thing that matters in your competition. So do not focus on anything else. If something happens in that interview, try not to focus on it if it's out of your control. And you know what? If you say something or stumble over something, laugh it off and move on. It's happened. It's in the past. Move forward, okay? The judges simply want to get to know you. Interview switched for me when I learned this, and when I learned that I had the power. But interview really switched when I learned that the judges didn't want to know how much I knew. They simply just wanted to know who I was. And that's all it is, you guys. Interview is wholeheartedly simply a conversation. They want to get to know you. They want to love you, and they want to know if you're the right girl for this job. They really don't care. They don't care what you answer, how you answer. They want to see how you answer. They don't care what your answer is. They want to see how you answer. That is 100% the God honest truth. So they just want to get to know you, and just know that walking in. And most pageants, we, as a director, we do not take picking judges lightly. We don't like having sourpuss judges. We don't like having judges that don't smile or don't talk. I get it that, sometimes they think that'll spark and try to shake you up to see how you'll feel. But at the end of the day, they're there still for the same reason. They just want to get to know you, even if they don't show it on your face. Accept your gifts with grace. Do not be cocky in your interview. It is very important. It's very hard being in pageantry anyways, and being in an interview and writing your bio and be like, wow, I sound so conceited talking about all these great things and all these great aspects about myself. It's okay. You're selling yourself, essentially. You're selling yourself. But do it with grace. Don't be cocky, and be humble. If somebody gives you a compliment, be like, thanks. Oh, I know. Be like, thank you so much. Accept your gifts with grace, honestly. And I mean that. And I think I wrote the wrong except. No, I think that's the correct one. Okay, let's get out of here. I will stop screen share. All right, let's open up this chat really quick. I used to interview and always have been like that, or am I slow? I remember doing that. Yes, I know what it feels like to feel like you're slow in interview. That's okay. That's okay. It's better to be slow in interview, because you can build up your energy after a while. And that's okay. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I meant so you said that USA interview was like you go in and it was and has it always been like that? Because for whatever reason, I'm like, I don't remember doing that.
Yes. You always, well, the year I won in Miss Indiana in 2014, Miss Indiana USA, the rooms were too small, so you crossed hallways. So the interview, you went into a different room, but they never shut the door because they didn't have a conference room big enough. So that's something I was just, again, YouTube, you guys is your best friend. I just YouTubed every single thing I could on Mrs. America because I'm getting ready for the job. I'm not even Mrs. Indiana if I get crowned in a couple days or a couple weeks, but I'm ready for the next phase of competition. So I YouTubed every stinking video I could find of Mrs. America, and I went on their website and watched every video. And I see, and I'm prepared for, they walk into an interview room in a large group of girls, and it looks like every judge has their own separate table. And so like, it's like speed dating, you know, you like sit down.
Oh, okay.
So do some research, see if you can find anything out about it, but do some visualization for both ways. Be ready to sit, be ready to stand, be ready to turn, or be ready to be one-on-one. Just visualize yourself in every situation. That way you're ready.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? I mean, I know I've been talking forever, so feel free to chat. If you can't unmute yourself, or go ahead and unmute yourself and go for it. I think you can raise your hand. I still don't remember how to do that. Maybe it's because I'm the interviewer, or I'm the hoster. No questions? No comments? I mean, I tried to spell it out as much as possible. If you guys can, if you can set up a mock interview, I 100% recommend it. And you can simply, and there might be other girls who want to do it as well. Some systems and organizations set one up for you. But if you can ask a few people that you, either family and friends, or, I mean, if you're comfortable. I was always really weird with my parents. I didn't like practicing with them. So if you're one of those people, it's okay. If you're not, it's not weird. But if you have some friends or an aunt or uncle or somebody or neighbor, you're like, hey, will you come ask me some questions? Even if you hand them questions, that way you can get comfortable talking to them. Do you guys want to see how I answer things? Do you want to do a mock interview on me to see how I respond? I mean, I'm open to that if that's comfortable with you. If not, I'm totally okay. Courtney?
Yes, I do have one question, not necessarily about the interview process, but kind of, I'm trying to visualize what the entire weekend is going to be like for my pageant.
And you're competing?
So, it's not till September. So I'm really trying to jump ahead and make sure that I have everything solidified to go.
What is your pageant though? I cannot remember.
Miss Illinois USA.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh,
yes.
Such the coolest pageant. I went there. My mind was blown. Is this your first year?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're going to love it. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, and I'm very nervous because this is the different organization that I've ever been in. So I come from county fair background.
Okay.
With pageants. So very different with everything, because when you were talking about wardrobes, it was suits with county fair, and now this is totally different. So my question is, when is the interview process going to take place necessarily for the weekend of the Miss Illinois pageant, or in your case, it was Miss Indiana pageant?
Typically, they happen before everything. Typically, it's before prelims and before finals night. However, at Miss USA, we had prelims before we had interview because, quite honestly, the organization said, we want them to judge the girls on stage and not judge bias, because, and it's true, you fall in love with a girl in interview. You do, because you get to know her, right? They wanted them to judge her on-stage presence unbiased. So I believe at the local state levels, no matter what system, you will interview first. And typically it is before preliminary competition. Now, do you know, Courtney, will you have a judge's preview?
I don't know yet.
I think
yes, I think that they will get in touch with me a little bit sooner. I've tried to do as much reading and YouTube videos as well on people who have done the pageant in the past, just on how the exact thing goes, because I was lost with my paperwork and with my photo that they wanted when I applied. I was freaking out because I thought, is this the photo that they're going to go on and put in the book? and everything. So I was trying to find all the information I could. So I do believe though that they give me the opportunity to see who the judges are beforehand.
Okay, yes, you are correct. I just want to prepare you before you jump into interview. You probably will have a judge's preview, and they took them away. I didn't have a judge's, oh yeah, I did. Miss USA, we had judges previews, but that was when Donald Trump still owned it. Indiana, Kyla, I don't think you have to worry about it. Indiana, you don't have a judge's preview anymore. So what a judge's preview is in the USA system, pretty much they can't judge you, they don't take notes. They simply, you usually show them, like you walk in either one-on-one or in a group setting, or they line you up and they get to walk up and down, you in swimsuit and evening gown. And it's really nerve-wracking. It's so strange. So I just want you to prepare you for that. There are pictures. There are actually, if you YouTube or if you Google Donald Trump, I mean, there's this where he kind of got some controversy because he would like chat with the girls and joke around with them as they're standing there in the line in swimsuit. And some girls felt threatened, yada, yada. I met the man. He was nothing but wonderful to me. But that is something to think about. At Miss USA, they didn't line us up when I was there. We walked in group settings. We literally kind of like walked in at 5 at a time and then walked out. So that's a judge's preview. If you have one, just think about that. Just be ready for it, and I want you to visualize. Interview will probably, I can guarantee, will be before prelims.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? How many judges are there for state MAOT? Usually there are 5. There almost is always an odd number because of tie breaks and whatnot. Usually they're 5, even if it's outstanding teen or just regular MAO. I would be prepared for 5. They almost always have 5 and someone on the back burner. Great thing about MAOT and Miss America MAO, you almost always get to see your judge's bio before the pageant and interview. Very good tip for you guys. If you get to a pageant, local or state, and they hand you a program book or they have a website and they list the judges, damn it, you better be reading those bios, because if you might have something in common with the judge, and that's very good for you because if it's like your major is a marketing and broadcast journalism, and this person does that, be prepared for questions about that. It's very important that if you have an opportunity to learn as much about the judges as possible, learn as much about the judges as possible. It only works in your benefit. Do we get to know the judges prior to Indiana USA? Yes, you do, but it's not very much. It's not a lot of time. I think it might be 2 weeks beforehand. Even if you get to orientation and they hand you the book, when you're in your room at night before, that night of, go ahead and read through your judge's bio. You can Google them if you want. I don't know what else you'll find. Please don't flatter them. Like, that's not their job. Be like, oh, well, Mekayla, I saw that you did this and that. Although I'd be like, oh, thanks. Well, the other judges will feel like crap, first of all. Flattery is not going to get you anywhere in this system. Just be ready for those questions they might direct you based off of their bios. Any other questions? Kimberly, nothing? Nothing. Okay. Well, do you guys want to ask me questions? I'm totally ready for bed. If you guys don't want to, I'm okay either way. It's up to you guys. Would you want to see how I answer things? I think you guys are all pretty experienced at this point. I'm okay not doing this. It's up to you.
I do have one question, and it can necessarily be an interview question, or it can just kind of go towards your Indiana Miss USA background.
Sure.
What was the most challenging part for you to prepare for the pageant?
Okay. So I'm going to organize my thoughts really quick so I can tell you how I'm going to answer this. So when you answered that specific question, the first thing you said, challenging, and I knew you were going to ask me about pageantry. So the first thing I visualized was everything I struggled with up until that point, okay? And that's the first thing I automatically started pulling from my memory banks, some challenging parts of pageantry for me. And then you narrowed it down into Miss USA or Miss Indiana USA, I'm sorry.
Both of them, either one, whichever one you felt was more challenging to lead up to.
I'm going to answer this a couple ways. For preparation, I would say getting ready for Miss USA was a lot harder for me because I had a lot of pressure, and I put the pressure on myself, but I felt like I have this deep fear of letting people down. It's one of the worst parts about myself. It's a good and bad thing. I really needed to work on it, but I put that pressure of my community on my shoulders, and it really affected me. It affected how I prepared for Miss USA, and it also affected my performance at Miss USA, and the rest is history. As far as the most, like, being on it, like real difficult things I had to go get through, I would say getting ready for Miss Indiana USA, I have a terrible habit of comparing myself to others, and especially past title holders. I would study past title holders and try to figure out why they won and what do I got to do to be like them. And that's a really hard, I think a lot of girls do that anyways. So that was a bad habit I had to give up. And I would say health and fitness, getting up to Miss USA was the thing that I could not get a grasp on. And finally I'm there. I mean, I understand myself and I comfortably live a healthy lifestyle now, but those are the two things that were really hard for me.
Okay.
I don't know if you were interviewing me or not, but I wanted to give you as much information. I probably would have shortened it down for an interview question.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, what is the best nightly routine to get ready for your next day of competition? Oh, this is such a great question. Well, trying to get tired. My emotions go crazy, especially leading up to the pageant. I have horrible pageant dreams about like running out without my swimsuit top, or I'm in swimsuit and everybody else's evening gown. I have these terrible dreams. But as far as the night before, I really make sure the day before that I stop drinking caffeine before or after noon. Like once noon hits, I don't drink any more caffeine because I know my adrenaline's going to be going very fast. So I make sure to stop drinking caffeine. I make sure I'm getting plenty of water. I always travel with a noisemaker because when we sleep in hotels, you never know who your roommate's going to be, if she snores or not. I always have earplugs with me. I have my little noisemaker. It's called the Dome, and it makes like this weird, just makes a fan noise. And I always bring melatonin with me. It's a chemical in your brain that produces itself. Some people don't make enough of it, but it helps me sleep soundly. So that's what I do to help get ready for the next day. That way I make sure that I'm rested and ready to go. Oh, sorry. It was as an interview question. Maybe I answered that wrong. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm reading two questions. Anyways, did I answer the night before question okay? Was that what you were looking for? That works for me. I always make sure, sometimes I read through, oh, that's what we need to go through. I'm making a note. I'll make a quick note about that. I want to, you guys, I always make a binder before every binder. I always make a binder. Yes. Before every pageant. In it has all of my resume. I print everything out. We'll just talk about it really quick, really here. Before every pageant, I have a notebook or a binder. And in it, I put my paperwork. I have a copy of my platform statement, my bio, my resume, anything that I will use for that pageant. And I always have an extra, you don't have to anymore now that's all digital. Back in the day, I used to always have an extra copy of my headshot just in case they needed it, but you don't need to do that anymore. I always have a rundown of if it was a state competition, I literally, like Wikipedia, the state of Indiana. That way I knew who my governor was. I knew the state bird, the state flag, the state motto. I knew the capital, because those things do come up in interview randomly sometimes. That's in that binder. I also print out the itinerary. 9 times out of 10 at orientation, they'll hand you a new itinerary, but that way I know I have one and I don't have to always look at my phone, because sometimes they make you take your phones away. That way you have it in there. I have a notebook. I have a complete bio of the reigning title holders, national and state. Especially if I'm want to take that girl's job, I have a rundown of those girls. Sometimes I do myself a favor, and it just great to have the knowledge of past title holders and know who was the last time that for me, I looked up when's the last year's Mrs. Indiana won Mrs. America, and it was in 2001 and 2011. That's the last time that Mrs. Indiana won Mrs. America. I don't know their names, but that way I have that a general knowledge of their history. That goes in that binder. And that way, during the weekend, if they hand you anything, it just gets slipped in the binder. So at nighttime, sometimes I'll just flip through my binder as a quick refresher. MAO girls who are not teens, current events need to go in that binder. You need to be ready, grab a copy of USA Today the day of your interview. That way you see the headlines and see what's going on. Yahoo Stories always has a quick flip of what's happening. Even if you don't have time to read through the entire story. I think USA, they don't typically talk about stuff as much because our interviews are so short, but it's very good to have a general knowledge of what's going on in the world, especially big headline things. So do yourself a favor, have those notes as well. If you are prepping for interview, I'm sorry, this is like total knowledge drop here. Procon.org. If you don't have an opinion on any of those things, get one. Education, abortion, marriage. I mean, procon.org is a website that gives you simply unbiased information, sourced information on that topic. That way you can form your own opinion. Procon.org. Okay, moving on. What do you look, here's an interview question. What do you look to accomplish if you win the title of Mrs. Indiana? For me, my hope is to continue to have an outlet to give back to my community. Philanthropy and community service has been something that's very important to me. I was fortunate enough to be raised with community service in my family. It was a tradition with our 4-H, and I realized the impact it made on my community. Now I have certain organizations that are very important to me, so I hope to continue to grow, to be able to give back and partner up with new organizations to continue helping people find a way to give back to their community. That's what I hope to gain. Being real, like just now chatting back and forth. I have also made a list of like pros and cons of winning this pageant. For me, it's really exciting. It's really strange. I never thought I would compete in a Mrs. pageant, and I'm very, very excited to represent married women at this point because, first of all, I feel like I'm still my same person even though I'm married, if that makes sense. I feel like being a married woman has changed so much in the past 20 years, 10 years, and I hope to show people and give an example to married women that you still can balance it all. You can live your dream life and go after whatever goals. And the best part is now you have someone there that is your partner in life to back you up along the way. I want to be that representation for all married women. Did that answer your question? I'm getting loopy. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. How would you describe the colors of the rainbow to a blind person? Okay, well, when I think about colors, it sparks an emotion to me. So I probably would talk about what each color means to me. The color of the sun, yellow would be the color of the sunshine, and that's bright and it's warm. I think I would turn it straight to emotion. That's really, really hard because it's of course me, the logical person, be like, well, has this person ever seen before? Were they born blind? Did they have any general knowledge of the world around them? I mean, it's like, that's how I think, but I think I would turn it to more emotion because they would get to know more about me, about what's important to me. So what each color sparks emotion in me, that's probably how I would answer that. The skim is an amazing for current events. Never used them yet. That's a good one. I have not used them. All right, we've been in here for a while. I'm sorry, it's been over an hour. Do you guys have any other questions? I knew this was going to be a huge chat because it's very, very important. So if you guys have any other questions at this point, either unmute yourself or shoot me a message. I'd be happy to answer them. Kimberly, you haven't said anything this entire time. Are you good, girl? Okay. Making sure you're still there. Okay. I think we are good to go, you guys. Feel free to, of course, it takes a bit for these to I have convert them to audio or video and then upload them. So it takes me a bit, but I'll hope to get this up tonight for to be able to zoom through those. I can also type up a quick PDF. That way you guys can print everything off, all those bullet points, and you can have them in your notes, in your notebook. That way you have them in your binders. All right, guys, thank you so much. We got a really full week ahead of us, and we're probably going to go into the next week as well before I leave for, I have an auto show. I leave the 6th, so we might continue on some things. And I mean, I didn't want a deadline on this because I wasn't sure exactly how we were going to fit everything in. So it's not like I'm cutting off on Sunday of this time next week. So we'll just kind of get through everything, and I'm just going to say we're going to continue our workshop through before I leave for my auto show in April. So is everybody okay with that? Okay, holler if you have any questions, and I will see you guys later. Night, guys.